Hi, this is Tim Szczerba, and me and Jen Beach will be interviewing Mr. Joseph A. Voce on December 17th, 2002.
Where were you born? Where were you born?
Utica, New York.
What was your education prior to going to the service?
1 year, Utica Free Academy.
What branch of service did you sign up for?
Army.
Did you get drafted or did you sign up?
No, I signed up in 1936, I went in. Then in 1945, I got out.
Where did you get sent for basic training?
I had 2 weeks of training here in the States and the rest of it was in Hawaii.
What was your rank?
Sergeant.
What unit did you
It
belong
was a
to?
220 Signal Supply. Then I made sergeant, but I was also 3-inch anti-aircraft gun in B battery, 64th Coast Artillery. So we shot at airplanes with the big guns.
What theaters or campaigns did you partake in?
What?
Theaters or campaigns did you partake in?
I still didn't hear.
What theaters or campaigns did you
Oh,
partake
the
in?
Asiatic, the South Pacific and Asiatic Pacific.
When did you first see combat? When did you first see combat?
Well, if you call it that, it'd be December the 7th when they come over, because they killed only one man on Fort Shafter, because they wanted to keep Fort Shafter as it was. Because I'll have to backtrack a little bit. 10 days before December the 7th, 4 Japanese officers come down. Because they went to all the military bases to look around and see how everything was. And then on the 7th, they knew just where to bomb and everything. But they didn't see all of the men, they didn't see all of the guns. Most of the 3-inch aircraft guns were already backed into a garage onto the trucks, and they didn't see them. All they saw was 3 anti-aircraft guns. So 3 don't mean nothing with a bunch of planes that they had. But they got fooled when they found out that we had 24 of them. And that was a heck of a showing on them. They thought it would be a picnic, that they could take Hawaii, they could take the Philippines, they could take all the islands. They didn't know that the men wouldn't surrender to them until they absolutely had to. And that's what happened. They couldn't get to us. Even how they didn't know how much damage they had done to start off with. If they had known, then they could have thrown the 2,000 troops they had at us, but that wouldn't have lasted long. I mean, if they come to shore, we could have taken care of them. But you see, 9 ships got out of the harbor that morning, and they didn't know about it. They thought the ships had left earlier. And it started, when the bomb started, they got out. And then everybody was searching every way but the right way. They were on the north side of the island. The United States Navy in 1933 says, let's have a maneuver. And they had a maneuver all week long. And the best time to attack the Hawaiian Islands is on a Sunday and they come in from the North Shore, because there's practically nobody on the North Shore. All they had was a Marine hospital up there. And somebody in Washington says, no, that's wrong. So in 1937, the United States Navy from Hawaii, 7th Fleet, and the fleet from the West Coast come down, and they did the same thing. So after 1 week, they figured out the same way. But the only trouble they made it public. When I read that in the paper, I said, they gotta be kidding. But that's the way the Japs come in, over the north side. They hit the Marine hospital first, knocked the radio out, and that was it. Because our radar was something brand new. It was less than a week old. So we didn't, As a matter of fact, it wasn't even set up properly. And all they saw was planes coming in. Well, we have planes coming in every day from the States. So they could be a mile and a half off course. They put it on the pilot. Nobody believed them until it was too late. But a couple things like that you always remember. Yeah.
What was December 7th like? Where were you first thing in the morning?
First thing in the morning, December the 7th, I got up 6 o'clock and had breakfast. Well, I was a bartender at the Officers Club at Fort Shafter back in them days. Cause I went up there to work in 1938, and I ended up being a bartender. And I had $1,500 sprawled out across the bar for the lieutenant to count. Because I was going out on pass on a Sunday. Then 9 o'clock Monday morning I was going to be discharged. Then at 10 o'clock I'd be down the bank by the bar out. But when they attacked, everything went the wrong way. And nobody got out. Matter of fact, this here one kid from New York City, they found out he was only 16 years old on December 7th. And they were getting ready to send him back on Monday. The captain says, no use sending them back, because they send them back, they're only going to draft them, so you might as well keep them here with us. See, a lot of guys got in young. Some used their names, some used their brothers' names. And after they start checking, the FBI, well, the Army, take your fingerprints when you go in. And your fingerprints are sent to the War Department and to the FBI's, so they can check on everything. Anytime they want to check, they can do it. All the fingerprints are there, everybody. But December 7th followed everything up for me. I had to stay right in the Army. I had to get out, quit tending bar, and go being a soldier again. After 3 years and a half of being a bartender, I had to go back in. First week was kind of tough, but after that, everything fell right in place. Because you start remembering everything and you start knowing what was going on. Yeah. Okay, what else do we have there?
Did you see combat on December 7th? Did you see combat on December 7th?
The only combat I saw was the second wave of planes that come in, about 12 feet high. And they bombed the one guy, K battery, in my post. And then I went down, got General Short, Colonel Powell, Captain Truman, and Ray Bergman telling the jets were bombing Pearl Harbor. At the time, when I first heard it, I didn't believe it either. But then when I saw that, when the second bunch of planes come over, just about the time that I had called the radio station up, told them quit broadcasting like that, you're going to scare the people, and they said, no, this is the real McCoy. So they heard planes and went outside, and there they were. And it was quite a job to get all them officers off the golf course then, because none of them picked up their golf bag. 90% of them didn't pick up they just dropped the bag and walked away. Because we had to pick the generals and the colonels and the captain bag up and take them back in with Ray and I. But some were left on the first green, second, third, fourth. We had to go back, pick everything all up, bring everything in the clubhouse. And all they heard was a war, and they were disappearing fast back to their outfits where they were supposed to be. That was the best, I'd say, of any war. As far as the military was concerned. What you saw, then it stopped. And they could stop within 2 hours. And you never saw any more there again. But if you was under Saipan, Guam, or any of them places, that was day after day after day. Over here it was just that 2 hour, a little over 2 hours. And that was the whole thing right there. and then you could relax, almost. Because if you didn't have the right password, you'd get killed at night. You wouldn't go out you wouldn't move at night unless you had the right password. Because you never know which guy's out there, because you got your orders to shoot if they can't give you the password. So 99% of us stayed inside at night, or in a tent or someplace, so we wouldn't have to go out. Wouldn't dare stick our heads out.
Where was this?
In Hawaii.
Hawaii.
And that lasted from December, January, and February. Then it was March when it started to let up, where they finally figured the Japs are not coming back because the Philippines had just fallen, and they got all the islands yet. They were fighting on all the islands, 6, 7 islands. They were fighting bad. They needed men over there before they come to Hawaii. They couldn't do it, so we had let's say we had it made. It was as far as the war right then was concerned. Only one bomber got back to the Hawaii in February. The night was dark. They didn't have the searchlights on. He must have flown awful low because nobody heard him, nobody could see him. And he dropped one bomb because he must have been so far off course, roughly about 22, 23 miles off course he was. Because he was supposed to go to Fort Shasta, where the general's quarters were, but he ended up at the University of Hawaii. In the middle of the parade ground, one bomb fell. And boy, oh boy, everybody started running around then. The searchlights started to do, but by that time he was already going over the hill, headed north again. And what happened to him after that, nobody knows. He was too far away for the East Coast to shoot at him, or the South Shores to shoot the North Shore. We only had, I think it was 8 guns over there at the time, but they were transferring the guns to the other side where Waikiki is. Because a lot of people wanted to, they still had a lot of people going down on Sundays, Saturday night and Sunday, and relaxing at Waikiki Beach. And they wanted more guns there. Because a lot of the officers' wives and the nurses used to go down there. But outside of that, the war followed everything up for me, but that happened to more than one guy. Yeah.
Were you sent anywhere after Hawaii?
Huh?
Were you sent anywhere after Hawaii?
Well, yeah, but I can't tell you. Just like some of the Navy, you ask them a question and they say, yeah, they was over here, but how did they get here and here? They don't know. Must have been at night, they'll tell you. They can't talk about it. A couple of things. There's only one man that knows it from Philadelphia, and they told him to keep quiet about it. You're not supposed to talk about it. All he heard, all he remembered was the company commander telling him, don't ever tell anybody you were here. Well, if you can't tell anybody you were here, then you got to keep quiet about it. So I was in Hawaii all the time except for 10 weeks. And I can't tell nobody where I was in 10 weeks. I'm not the only one. 27 other men got to do the same thing. You got to keep quiet. You can't talk.
What was your most interesting war experience? What was your most interesting war experience?
The most interesting one was when I was on this ship and it dropped the propeller at night. Well, early in the morning. I knew how the ship was supposed to go. The ship was supposed to be traveling this way, and when it starts going this way, you know there's something wrong. So when I woke up, I almost hit my head on the floor a couple times. That's the way the ship was going. So I yelled, and the lieutenant told me to keep quiet. I said, no, I'm going on deck. So I rapped on the door. They wouldn't let me out until all the lights were out. So I yelled back at the lieutenant and told him, turn all the lights out and everybody on deck. He wanted to know why. I says, I don't know. So they put all the lights out and everybody went up on deck, and then they told us that the ship had dropped a propeller and they had already sent an SOS out. That's all I had to hear. That's scary. They already sent an SOS out. So the minute the sun rose and everything, you could see all them ships, but they're all American ships. Everybody's going in, they're quite a distance away, you could see the smoke on them. Then two of them came toward us. Then one of them gave us a tow job back into port. And everybody said thank you to the guys. And I never knew who done it. 50 years later, we were talking about it, and the ship that Tony Reel from Frankfurt was on, that belongs to the outfit, was the ship that towed us back into port. After 50 years, I found out what ship towed us back into port. It was his. He was on a fuel ship. They bring fuel for all the other ships. They got so much for themselves, and 2.5, 3 million gallons that they have to give to other ships that they tow around. And they're the ones that towed us back into port. So that, I won't say it was interesting, it was kind of scary at first, but we set guns up on deck, pardon me, which was stupid, because the guns are made, you got steel. The legs and everything are strictly steel, there's nothing around. And the deck was steel. If you ever fired one of them guns, when you first fired, you got a nice kick to it, but when it comes back on the recoil, it would have taken that gun and probably thrown it off the ship if we ever had to fire them. But we never had to fire it. But we did have 2 submarines going around us. And for quite a while, we couldn't figure it out. Until we happened to look up there at the captain, the quarter bridge one day, and there was a general. Then I see another officer, Navy officer there. He had 3 or 4 grades up on him. That's why they were protected us so much. Because the big Navy officers, big Army officers aboard. And they had to make sure that they got the port. They didn't want them people hurt. They wasn't worried about the enlisted men. The big shot officers, they knew everything, whatever it was that they knew. They had to protect the ship, protect the men aboard it.
Who are the most memorable people? Your most memorable people?
The most memorable one, Staff Sergeant from Nebraska, Staff Sergeant Hedges, Sergeant Shahansky from Brooklyn, and Captain Ball from Watertown. And there was another little kid, S. Smith from Toledo, Ohio. I could never give him a rate, and I tried a couple of times, but every time I tried to give him a rate, and he seemed like he had just done something wrong. And I tried to explain it to him, but he was young. He was only 18, he said, but I think he was about 16, the way he was acting. Outside of that, of the other rest of them, 700 men. Can't remember too many names, but they all remember the sergeants and everything else. I'll tell you that. Yeah.
What experience had the greatest impression on you? What experience left the greatest impression on you?
What is my experience for what?
What war experience left the greatest impression?
I don't know.
What medals did you receive?
The Asiatic Pacific with a bronze with stars. I got a good conduct medal. American Defense Service Medal with a bronze star. And Presidential Citation. And 1, 2, 3, and the good conduct medal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 medal, that was it. Tough to get old, and you gotta start wearing glasses and everything else to read.
When were you discharged?
What?
When were you discharged?
August 1945.
What did you do after the war? Where did you work?
After I got discharged, I tried to work in half a dozen different jobs, but every time there was so many men looking for work that they wouldn't hire you permanently, they hire you temporarily. Until I finally got a job at Tri-State Industrial Laundry. Then after 3 years, I ran the washroom. I stayed up there for 32 years working.
Do you have any other comments? Do you have any other comments about the war?
No, it's all outside the fact that I wish they'd treat all veterans as though they're somebody and not just numbers. See, those Pearl Harbor survivors were nothing but numbers for years. Now they seem to say they're all right. Must be men. I hope they treat all veterans that way. Men. That's what they are. Thank you.
Going back to December 7th, I know it's backtracking a little bit, but you said the officers were on the golf course?
Yeah.
So, was anybody actually ready for the attacks at all? That you know?
Yeah. Monday morning, they were going out on maneuvers for 10 days, on the 8th. They were going to get ready to go out on maneuvers. But on a Sunday morning, you had to make sure that you were there on time. Otherwise, somebody else would be filling your spot on the golf course. Because that seemed the best time for all of the officers to play. And none of the women could get on the course on a Saturday or Sunday. The rest of the week, they could get on and play. And the enlisted men could only play one day, on a Wednesday. Of course, my buddy and I, we used to play every morning. I played 9 holes. There was nothing to that because we were right there. And nobody was there on the first thing in the morning. After 9 o'clock on any given day, there was a lot of players. But up until then, there wasn't. So we'd have breakfast, and at 7 o'clock we'd go out and play 9 holes. By the time we got back in, players were just starting to come on.
So basically, no one was ready for these attacks, and they were all playing.
No, nobody was really ready for the attack. But you see, what happened was Winston Churchill knew it, the President knew it, the War Department knew it. The exact date that they were going to attack, and the time they were going to attack us. But they didn't send the information. They sent at 3 o'clock the time, Eastern time here, the Japanese broke off talking with the President. So they sent us a telegram in code that we're going to be attacked about 8 o'clock Sunday morning. But the telegram did not come in. They didn't mark it urgent or special or nothing, it was just an ordinary telegram. So we got the telegram at 9 o'clock in the morning. That was 15 minutes, just about 15 minutes after the second wave come in. So we shot down 1 bomber and 32 fighter planes on December the 7th. So we did pretty good. We weren't prepared for them. We did good.
Was that Fort Shafter, or was it the entire island as a whole?
Fort Shafter was with the golf courses. The big golf course and the big officers club was at Fort Shafter. 90% of the officers from all around the island belonged up there. Although some of the other places had officers clubs, but they were small. There wasn't that many people there, and some only had bottled beer, and that was it. Or we had a regular bar. We had everything there. And you had to be a member. It cost you $3 a month to be a member up there. Where Fort Ruger, Fort LaRussie, and the rest of them, Wheeler Field, didn't cost you nothing to be a member. But over at Fort Shafter, it cost you $3 a month. Because you had a lot of things going for you. And a lot of meals, a lot of parties, and everything else. Because we were supposed to have a big party on Christmas Eve, 1941, that had just built a new building, put a great big oval bar in there. And we were just starting to make plans for a great big party. And then on the 9th, the Colonel come over, he says, forget all them plans. He says, we ain't gonna do nothing. Now, everybody figured that would happen. Yeah.
Do you hold any resentment against the Japanese today?
What?
Do you hold any resentment against the Japanese today?
No, I hope they mind their own business all the way around, but I doubt it. Yeah. I really feel that they will hit somebody else again in another country. That they're trying to push all their supplies, all their knowledge that they have to other countries, which other countries don't want, so they have to watch it. And they're just starting to get out of hand again.
Well, I guess that's it. Thank you very much.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you for having us.